No son should ever have to face this. My 93-year-old mother, frail, kind, and tough as Texas leather, was sitting peacefully on the porch of the ranch she's called home for over 60 years when three men showed up pretending to be an HOA crew. They weren't here for flowers or barns. They were here to intimidate, to steal, to threaten. What they didn't realize was that her son, the one standing between them and her, was a Navy SEAL who'd stared down warlords, insurgents, and hired killers. But nothing raises my blood pressure like someone targeting my family. And this time, they picked the wrong ranch. It was a warm Texas morning, the kind where the sun rises slow but steady, pouring gold across the fields, touching the old fence posts, the windmill, and the cracked porch where my mom sat with her tea. Evelyn Hart, 93 years old, sharp as a tack and tougher than most men half her age. Her skin carried the map of a lifetime under the Texas sun, her hands calloused from decades of ranch work. But her eyes still held that fire, the same one I saw when I was a boy, and she stood between me and a rattlesnake, shovel in hand. For over 60 years she lived on that ranch. Taxes paid, deed clear, everything right as rain. No one in their right mind would say she owed a soul. But trouble doesn't knock politely, it barges in. That day, it came in the form of three men in polo shirts, clipboards in hand, HOA enforcement stenciled across their backs. They came strutting up the gravel driveway like they owned the land. I knew instantly something was off. Out here, ranchers wear boots caked with mud, hats that carry sweat lines, and faces marked by work. These guys? Sunglasses, shiny sneakers, and fake authority. I stepped onto the porch, boots heavy on the old wood, and looked them dead in the eye. "Can I help you, boys?" I asked, voice calm but edged with steel. The stocky one with wraparound shade smirked. "We're here on official HOA business. Your mother's flower beds are in violation of community uniformity standards, and your barn obstructs the HOA view corridors." I almost laughed. "What HOA? There's no HOA within 20 miles of here. This land is private, paid for, and you're trespassing." The wiry one flipped a page on his clipboard. "Sir, you can either comply voluntarily or we'll escalate this. We can do this the easy way or the hard way." That's when it clicked. These weren't HOA reps. They were muscle, paid to scare an old woman into giving up her home. And the words easy or hard way were the spark that lit the fuse inside me. Years of military training kicked in, not the loud, explosive kind, but the quiet, precise switch. That edge where I decide, protect or perish. I stepped forward, my voice dropped to that dangerous calm I only use when things are about to break bad. "The hard way," I said, "you're standing in it." The first guy, Shades, lunged like he was going to push past me. Bad choice. I caught his wrist, twisted, and used his momentum to slam him face first into the gravel. He yelped as pebbles tore into his cheek. The wiry one tried to grab me from behind. I pivoted, swept his legs, and he hit the dirt with a grunt, clipboard skidding across the ground. The third froze, but not long enough. His hand went into his polo, fumbling for something. I closed the gap, grabbed his arm, and slammed him against the barn wall. Out came a cheap folding knife, trembling in his grip until I wrenched it free. "Not flowers, not barns. What are you really here for?" I demanded, pinning him in place. He spat. "Your mom's sitting on prime development land. My boss wants it, and he doesn't take no for an answer." There it was, the truth. Fake HOA, real intimidation. A land grab dressed in polo shirts. I zip-tied their wrists, Standard ties I keep in my truck, and sat them in the barn shade. Called the sheriff. Body cam footage already uploaded to my cloud. When I went back inside, Mom was at the kitchen table sipping tea like nothing happened. "They came for the wrong ranch, didn't they?" she said with a grin. 15 minutes later, the sheriff arrived. He wasn't surprised. "We've had reports. These guys aren't on any HOA registry. They're tied to a private enforcement company. Been trying to scare folks into selling." The three were hauled off in cuffs, but I knew this wasn't over. If their boss wanted the land bad enough to send a crew, he'd send more. 2 days later, it happened. A black Escalade rolled up slow, tires crunching the gravel. Out stepped a man in a tailored navy suit, gold cufflinks gleaming, flanked by two bigger, meaner-looking men. Not clipboards this time. These carried themselves like they'd been in fights before. "Mr. Kane," the suited man said smoothly, "I understand there's been a misunderstanding. I'm willing to make this go away if your mother is reasonable." "And by reasonable, you mean signing her deed over for pennies?" He smiled without warmth. "Land like this is wasted on barns and cattle. My investors want to develop. You can either take my offer now or deal with my men." I stepped forward, boots grinding dirt. The first guard moved in. I shoved him chest first into the Escalade, metal rattling. The second lunged. I hooked his arm, spun, and slammed him to the dirt. The boss's smile cracked. "You think you can stop progress?" he barked. I pulled my phone, sheriff's number already on speed dial. "I already have. You sent men to threaten my mom. I've got every second on camera. Add attempted coercion, trespass, and conspiracy to your list. And one more thing." I leaned in close, voice low. "I'm a Navy SEAL. You won't win the physical fight either." Right on cue, the sheriff's cruiser rolled up. Cuffs clicked, Escalade towed, and my mom? She stepped onto the porch, tea in hand, steam curling in the morning light. "Well," she said with that grin of hers, "guess we're not selling." "No, Mom, we're not selling. We're fighting. And anyone who tries again, they'll find out the hard way."